Infiltrate the refinery and complete demolitions deployment. Trigger detonation.
Wow, so what an interesting morning. So, there's a bunch of movie scenes that kind of live in my head rent-free. One of them's from the movie Watchmen. It's when, after Rorschach gets captured by the police and gets sent to prison, an inmate stabber comes up to him in the lunch line to stab him. Rorschach smashes him in the throat with the metal food tray, knocks him down, smashes open the sneeze guard at the lunch line, grabs a tray of dirty prison fries covered in boiling oil and throws it in the face of the guy. He then states, "I'm not locked in here with you, you're locked in here with me." Now, in terms of story structure, that is called making an example of someone. So, a lot of times, looking at global politics, we look at other countries and we are sort of afraid of what they are capable of doing. Well, I think that time's passed because the US just showed what it's capable of doing. Now, the reason why I brought that up was because Trump has basically just done the same thing to Khomeini. He's not involved himself in a regime change war. He hasn't put boots on the ground. He basically just used the situation to make an example of Iran to the world, what the US is capable of doing. For example, like if I told you there was a nuclear facility like 100 miles underground with a bunch of IR-6 centrifuges and a bunch of 60% enriched uranium that a radical suicidal Islamist regime can refine into 90% enriched uranium and make nukes from within as little as 2 to 7 days, you would say, wow, we have actually got a serious fucking problem on our hands. The US just said, hold up, watch this. Now, all the bad guy regimes, and Islamists, and Russia, and China, they all globally live in the US's shadow in terms of power. Globally, they kind of want to ignore what the US is capable of in terms of force. Like, they obviously don't want to address what it is capable of in a direct conflict. Because it hurts the ego and most of these dictators have pretty sort of fragile, paranoid egos. Now, they probably can't really afford to ignore what the US is capable of. And what it is capable of on what is essentially less than a week's notice. Like, precision bombing through, like 100 meters of a mountain through a concrete and steel reinforced bunker roof into a hidden underground nuclear bunker and destroying nuclear material and centrifuges on essentially a couple of days' notice, and clearly before Iran was able to enrich their 60% uranium stockpile. Like, what does that indicate to, like, the other dictators around the world? Like, that's their ideal safe position, right? That's their theoretical checkmate. Underground, secret, hidden nuclear facility bunker, like under a mountain, 100 meters of bloody stone mountain dirt shit on top of it. A steel and concrete reinforced bunker roof on top of that. US just precision bombed straight through it with like 6 of these humongous 30,000 pound bunker busters and fucked up everything inside. Like, think for a second, like, the evil regimes globally that the left is saying, oh, just capitulate to them all the time and give them all the concessions you can. We don't want to anger them. We don't want to make them mad. They might be able to do something to us. Like, the leftist policy of weakness. Like, just look at that and think, hang on a second, why? Why? The US and the West have the tools. Like, Israel by itself, like, no one thought Israel was going to be a match for Iran. Like, Iran's like 9 times bigger, has way more people, has way more area, has hidden mountains, has missile launchers hidden in the mountains, has way more missiles. No one really thought Israel could deal with Iran by itself. Turns out Israel can behead Iran in essentially a week and keep it off balance for as long as it needs to. Like it completely decapitate them in like less than a month and just continue bombing them within their own country with like complete immunity. Like complete impunity from any sort of counter-strike within their own country. Like taking out like a quarter of their rocket launchers. Like, fair point, Iran got a couple off and targeted civilian areas, but they couldn't really do anything to the military. Like, the military kind of just fucking owned them. And like, that was a big shock. Like, Iran was meant to be the largest player on, let's say, the radical Islamist side in the Middle East. And it was absolutely humiliated and beheaded by a nation like 9 times smaller. And like, Israel didn't just behead Iran, it took out its proxies, beheaded the proxies. It took out pretty much all of the original leadership of Hamas. I'm pretty sure it took out most of the leadership of Hezbollah, blew the nuts off of Hezbollah with pages. It humiliated, right? Just completely humiliated. Just took them out with intelligence, didn't even have to rely on overwhelming force. Then, in an optics move, probably designed to build up the threat the West poses to these nations, it basically asked the US for help dealing with the most difficult bunker, the aforementioned 100 meters and then steel reinforced bunker with all the nuclear shit inside. Basically said, hey, to the West, hey, can you help? We don't have the capabilities for this. The US had the overwhelming firepower to do it in one series of bombings, and it took out another 2 nuclear facilities during that set of bombings as well. Like, absolutely fucking humiliated, obliterated their strongest targets, their strongest defensive targets. To put this into perspective, if the US are the good guys and they're the number 1, let's say the number 2 are bad guys in Russia. What has happened to the number 2 military power just recently? Has it been able to deal with one of its opponents immediately and in humiliating fashion in less than a week, in less than a month, like Israel and the US just did? No, it hasn't. It recently lost a quarter of its strategic bombers, which it relies as one of its like 5 delivery methods for nuclear reprisal. It lost a quarter of them to a cheap Ukrainian drone attack. The cost to benefit of that was like a couple of million for the truck, drones and explosives, to several billion for the irreplaceable bombers that took years to build. Russia's on a war footing, has been at war, as a wartime economy at the moment. It can't really afford to replace them or rebuild them, especially with its current losses in Ukraine. It recently just walked into another meat grinder in the Ukraine, by the way, attempting to take land. Lost a bunch of troops. In 2024 alone, some of the estimates are that it's lost like 40,000 to 45,000 troops, some of the higher end estimates. That's a lot of people to lose in an economy where you're going to have a demographic crisis shortly. And that's meant to be the number 2 most threatening military power on the face of the earth. I don't think you can make the case that the Russians are. I mean, sure, they've got like an absolutely huge nuclear stockpile and they've got mutually assured destruction. But just in conventional warfare, they're not that impressive. As a matter of fact, they look pretty weak in Ukraine, given how tiny Ukraine is compared to Russia, which is fucked to say. They're still scary, but America has the edge in like 6 aspects of nuclear war against Russia, and given how poorly these dictators in these countries are performing in warfare just recently, like Iran against Israel, all Iran's proxies against Israel, Russia against Ukraine, Western-backed Ukraine, like, they're not looking good on any front. Like, and the left has just, constantly been playing up how scary and competent and capable they all are all the time, to the detriment of us. It's beginning to look a lot like they're paper tigers when compared to the US and when compared to countries like Israel, for example. Like, that they don't look like they're a match at all on any front, even the nuclear front in Russia's case. Even though Russia has more nuclear weapons than the US, the US still has advantages in communication, submarines, the lot. Like, so it comes back to the example that Trump just made, right? Do we need to be afraid of them, or do they need to be afraid of us, sort of deal? Considering we could morally justify wiping them out, just in terms of mutually assured destruction and all that sort of thing, just before they get anything off. We have the advantage in nuclear war, the US and the West. We just dealt with what appeared to be Russia attempting to clandestinely arm Iran with nuclear weapons by giving them access to nuclear scientists. Now, fair, the nuclear scientists might have just been there for the nuclear reactors, but at the same time, Iran also had, 60% enriched uranium? And then after that, you've got the number 3 power, which is not even really a military power, especially not compared to the US, which is China. It's an economic power. But basically what the US has said to all of these powers, hey, your super secret 100-meter underground nuclear fallout shelter bunkers that you can hide nuclear shit in? Well, yeah, on short notice we can get to them. He's basically said to every dictator on the planet, if we decide to kill you, we can kill you. Fucking brutally effective, especially to people that, let's face it, only respond to force. Like, Khomeini, you might have to kill Khomeini anyway, still, even after demonstrating to him, like, basically ripping his dick off in front of everybody by bombing his nuclear facility right in front of him with his supposedly untouchable nuclear facility right in front of him, in front of the world, on short notice, with, 6 mega bunker busters that no one else has. Like, okay, just ripped his dick off in front of the world. Oh, you think your nukes are hot shit? Watch this. Boom. Done. Like, in 2 days notice? 2 days, if that? Like he said, I'll give it 2 weeks, and then on day 2 or 3, move the carriers into position, move the BTs into position, bombed it. You wake up this morning and you're hearing that. Okay, well, if you're a tin pot dictator now, and you're challenging the US because you're a radical Islamist or, I don't know, some sort of communist or socialist or whatever, and you think you're super safe in your 100-meter underground fallout shelter. By the way, both Israel and the US know where Khomeini is. that's got to be like psychological pressure on Khomeini. Hey, like, Khomeini, we can kill you at any time. We took out your fucking 100... Like, the only thing you'd want to protect as much as yourself would be your nuclear base, right? Theoretically. Well, they took that out. They could easily take Khomeini out. Like, what do you do? What do you do with that? Like, that knowledge that all these brutal dictators that maintain their positions of power through force, that the US can literally have them killed in like 2 days notice. Like, all they have to do is know where you are. Their intelligence is the best in the world, alongside Israel's intelligence. Very likely they'll know where you are. Like, they can kind of kill anyone. Which is good when you have powers like Trump in charge that seem to be after stability and peace by taking out a radical Islamist's ability to nuke people. Like, hey, look, that's a good thing. And good on like Matt Tardio from the Speak the Truth podcast. He had it right on the money. He said, look, you're not going to get through it with one, you're going to need at least two. And like Trump was like, just throw 6 at it. The 6 bunker busters thinks like 30,000 pound mega bunker busters. Just fucking blow it up. Hey, look, if you've got it, you might as well use it, right? Like, I can't imagine China, who, let's face it, if it loses its supreme leader because he's purged the rest of the party, there's not going to be anyone else to lead in China. And it's like sort of the same thing with Russia. Like, if they lose Russia, there's not going to be anyone else to lead Russia. Like, the threat there, like, these countries are no match anyway, but the US could like just B2 mega bunker bust them in their safest bunkers at any time on like 2 days notice once they know where they are. And like, Iran's air defenses were meant to be pretty impressive. They were meant to be like Russian style gear, right? Because Iran and Russia were pretty close. That's why, you know, there were a bunch of Russian scientists around Iran, Russian nuclear scientists around Iran, helping them get their nuclear energy program up, and definitely not helping them enrich 60% uranium. But, like, okay, the Russian air defenses are meant to be number 2 to the US's and Israel's, I guess, with the Iron Dome and Trump's Golden Dome, Space Force and all that sort of shit. Alright. It looks to me like they can pretty much kill Putin at any time, pretty short notice, if they really want to. And it's only that they don't want to escalate to nuclear war. And to put it into perspective, like how high stakes this poker game is. If they kill Putin, Russia's done. Like, there's not going to be anyone else to lead it. Like, similar case with China. China, they take out the fucking Xi in China, President Xi. Like, because he's purged the party, there's no one else to lead them. Like, that's not the case in the US. The US has continuity through J.D. Vance and others. Like, I mean, it's a good time to be alive. Like, you could be alive in the time of, like, Genghis Khan and fucking be worrying if he's going to just kill your entire village to make an example of someone. Or, like, okay, we're in a time of peace and prosperity. It's a good thing. The regime change in Iran's going to look different now. Like, I suppose if Israel really wanted to install the Shah, because they have complete air superiority and Iran's running out of missile launches and just had their nuclear program taken out, unless Trump stops Israel, there's nothing Iran can do. So Iran could just continue bombing the fuck out of the IRGC, take out a sufficient number of IRGC, find and what would you say, elect someone in the Iranian military who isn't a radical Islamist true believer in the supreme leader, and then have him partnership installed alongside the Shah in sort of like a military dictatorship. That'd really be the safest way you could do it. But yeah, like, Iran's not even that much of a nuclear threat anymore, and Israel's probably just going to keep pounding the shit out of them just because Iran's being a fuckwit and launching ballistic rockets at civilians. Like, what happens now? Like, we have Israel involved in a regime change war now. Like, I didn't expect to have that happen in my lifetime. That Israel would be involved in a regime change war in Iran. That the US would learn from its mistakes in regime change wars in radical Islamist countries and decide to not get into a regime change war in Iran. Iran's different though. Like, Iran has the Shah, who's like a lot more secular. Oh, everything seems to be looking up. That's probably a good thing. And it should have every single dictator that opposes America shaking in their boots. Like, the only more brutal thing they could have done was in the same bombing that took out, like, their nuclear facility, also have taken out Khamenei, because apparently they know where he is. Like, could you imagine the one move America made during, like, the whole Iran-Israel war was a bombing? It was just one move, and it took out both Iran's nuclear facilities and also the supreme leader in, like, the same series of bombings. Like, that would be fucking making a statement at the very least. Like, that the supreme leader's still alive. Like, and apparently they know where he is too. I don't know if it was Blaster or if they were, like, just talking shit, but if they know where he is, and they could have used, like, one of these 30,000 pound bunker busters on him, like, to kill him. Like, that would have been fucking horrifying. Mind you could have made an even better movie out of it. But I guess we're past the point of conventional arms, but could you imagine, like, they do, like, a big combined arms thing to, like, by man, invade and take out the facility? Like, fucking end of Call of Duty 4, the original one. Like, they have all the jets fly and bomb the fucking shit out of everything. Have a rapid dispersal with helicopters and shit. Set up a perimeter. Have a crack team go in, flashbangs, fucking whole deal. Take out everyone, capture everyone. Like, that whole deal. Like, that would have been cool too. Would have made a good movie. The beheading of Iran or something. But the fact that they can do it without needing to do all that, they can just literally just drop, like, 6 bunker busters and problem solved. Like, to be fair, 30,000 fucking pound bomb is fucking huge. That is a gigantic bomb. But hey, look, problem solved. We don't need to worry about Iran anymore. And, like, it's funny, all the fucking radical Islamists and fucking leftists that back radical Islamists, they're all upset. Like, if you want to upset anyone, that's a good type of person to upset. Those people are such a fucking liability to the free West. They're such a liability to peace, to everything. Peace, security, like, safety. Like, these same fucking idiot people mass imported Islamists from these regions, from, like, Afghanistan in Albanese's case, into Australia. Like, just directly putting people at risk through fucking future terrorist actions, even if none happen soon. Like, it's so stupid. And, like, they're all upset at Trump for essentially ripping out Iran's teeth in front of everybody. Oh well. Like, just the language of, oh no, he escalated the war. Like, fuck off. You've got a radical Islamist fucking state deliberately bombing civilians with military rockets. Shut the fuck up. They're even bombing mosques and hospitals. Shut the fuck up. Escalated the war. They've already escalated it to its highest point.